With this episode, the names have been changed or left out to protect the guilty. Homebuyer-based offenses are extremely heinous. These are their stories. So we are talking about stupid and dumb things that homebuyers have done that have, in some cases, cost them a lot of money. In some cases, cost them the home that they were looking to purchase. So there are quite a bit of things that we're going to go through. However, we're going to actually taper down the list because otherwise you'd be here for a couple hours. But hopefully, or the hope is that you will at least gain some insight, some understanding, and some things to put on your list of what not to do, so that when you're on your home buying journey, you can have a much better go at it and actually succeed in getting to the closing table and not costing yourself more money. So I will kick this thing off, and this is in no particular order. But
yes, and any similarities to anybody that you may know is strictly coincidental. We ain't talking about nobody specifically.
Yeah, if you think that either of these situations or any of these situations is about you, it's not. Your name is not being mentioned. Like I said, we are protecting the guilty parties here. So with that said, I'll start off on the low end with the financing side. One of the things I see particularly frequently is people buying things on credit while they're in the process of purchasing a home. Couple things that this can actually do to hurt you. One of the things is it can mess up your debt to income ratio. Debt to income ratio is huge in you being able to qualify for whatever price home you were looking to purchase. So when you go and purchase things on credit, particularly while you are in the home buying process, meaning anytime from the time you start an application to the time you actually close on a home, when you go and purchase something on credit, that adds to your debt, which means it decreases how much home you can qualify for because your debt to income ratio is going higher and higher. So don't go and purchase things on credit. If by any means, tuck your credit cards away in a little drawer. Don't touch them. Leave them there until after you close on your home. You're like, but I got things I need to pay for. Use a debit card. And there's also this, they used to have it back in the 60s. Green rectangles. They had like some dead president pictures on cash. That stuff is still here. They still have cash around. Use cash. Stores.
Okay, yeah, I'll do a cash advance. Yeah, you sure right on my credit card. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, same day. Yeah, we deny your loan. Same day. Same day that you get that cash advance.
Don't do a cash advance. He is not talking about a cash advance. You know, you got to make it plain these days, Frederick.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You do, because
one of my good friends' husband bought a motorcycle the week of closing.
You know, I have actually also had a real estate agent who had bought furniture for the home that she was buying.
Furniture on credit.
On credit. Literally, the day before she was going to close on her home, went and bought all this furniture on credit, showed up to the closing with the moving van and the furniture full of moving furniture and the moving truck full of the furniture that she had just bought on credit. Lender did a last minute credit check, saw that she just opened up this new line of credit with this furniture store, and now she don't qualify, didn't close, had to take all that furniture back to the store. I mean, talk about a bad day for everybody, especially if you the agent and you was needing that commission to pay your bills. Yeah, that was just a bad day around for everybody. Sellers not selling, buyers not buying, agents aren't getting paid, and neither is the lender. All because someone got
it all that night.
If you could have waited 48 hours, like leave that house empty.
Do whatever you want to do once that loan closes. You can go and get in as much debt. You can even get foreclosed on within the first 3 months because you can't pay no bills.
Mm-hmm.
Just get to the closing table. No, I'm just playing. We don't want you to do that. You know, it's just everything adds to your debt to income ratio, and it still affects you being able to pay for your home. Just because you qualified for it doesn't mean that you can't also do things after closing, like purchasing a whole bunch of things on credit that's going to affect your ability to pay it. Now, you can be like a lot of people and just not pay those extra bills and still take care of your home, but then that ruins your
Well,
credit. So if you ever need to pull money off of your home for a home equity line or qualify for anything else, like, oh, your AC went out and the company does financing and payments, oh, your credit is shot, so we can't. So now you're hot in your house.
yeah. Just leave the credit card alone. Keep it paid off. I mean, make your minimum payments. Make the payments every month, but don't put anything extra on it, and don't open up any new lines of credit. That's just going to destroy you. So,
Please don't.
ooh, I got a lot of other ones, but I will say, what I know you got at least something over there.
I do. One thing that keeps people from being able to purchase a home, that's the topic, right? Is really just getting and when it comes to getting qualified, their credit score can be affected by anywhere from 40 to sometimes 100 to 200 points due to student loans is not necessarily an issue unless you're doing like a government backed loan, like a USDA or FHA. If those are delinquent. But when you have a $200 balance on your credit card and you let it go delinquent, you didn't pay it, and your $50 charge from Comcast because you never turned in the box. The smallest amounts, but then you'll go and spend $1,500 on a cruise vacation or $300 on a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
You got a new pair of shoes, but you still renting. And so these things is what keeps people, when you have the money, it be such small balances that are delinquent compared to what they normally spend their money on is a small amount. Buckle down and pay off your delinquent items on your credit. Though, especially those, you can start with the smallest ones first because every payoff counts for a lot, and then the higher payoffs count for even more. Even making payments towards delinquent accounts helps, but the more that you can pay off and settle, the better.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, Frederick? This reminds me. I don't know if you still have Credit CoPilot, right?
I do.
Talk to us about that. This is a perfect plug.
Yeah, so Credit CoPilot is basically a course that I put together to help people learn about credit and what they can do to improve their credit, even as far as removing items from your credit, how you can go about getting that done as well. So if you do need to have that stuff done, I'll put a link down in the description where you can go to the website, check it out. And if you need credit work done, it's a great place to start for you to, one, learn about your credit, which is key because a lot of people just want to throw money at a credit repair company and hope that they can do something. Learn about your own credit. Credit repair company cares more about your money than they care about your credit. No one's going to care more about your credit than you. So it's incumbent upon you to learn about it and then do what's necessary to take care of it, so that you can open yourself up to more opportunities to be able to purchase a home and everything. So thank you for that. I'll definitely drop that link down in the description so that you can, anyone who's interested can check that out.
Yes, y'all take advantage of this because it's absolutely free. Frederick is not charging anything for this, and it's essentially the same as credit repair. You're just doing it yourself. And so you're not only saving the money for credit repair companies, which can charge an upwards of $200 per month just for the services, not to mention you still have to pay down or pay off those delinquent accounts. So if you're going to spend money, you may as well put it towards the actual bill. Negotiate for yourself. And one thing that I love about the program is that it also teaches how to take care of repos, car repos, which a lot of people don't know how to remove from their credit. So y'all check that out for sure. At
least while it's free, because there will come a time where it will be paid. So while it's free,
I ain't blame you.
take
I can't blame you.
advantage.
Yes.
So moving on in this dumb things that people have done that has really, screwed themselves when it comes to purchasing a home. Another one is giving the appraisal to your lender. So when you are a mortgage lender, there are certain things that we really don't need to know about. Actually, there are some things that we don't want to know about because certain things would necessitate us to take certain action if we know about it. So, for example, when you go to purchase a home, one of the things that I highly recommend you get is a home inspection. That home inspection, I don't know if I said appraisal or inspection, but if I said appraisal, I meant inspection. You don't want to give that home inspection to your lender. The appraisal, your lender is going to see that regardless. But the home inspection, you do not want to give that home inspection to your lender. So when you go to purchase a home, I highly, highly, highly recommend you get a home inspection so that you know the true condition of that home before you purchase it. However, take that home inspection, read through the entire report, go through it with your real estate agent because that can be negotiating points for you to go back to the seller if you want to negotiate maybe some more seller contributions, maybe you want to negotiate some seller repairs. Talk with your real estate agent. They can guide you in that direction. But do not think that you need to go and send that report to your lender, because what has happened before, and it doesn't happen all the time, but what has happened before is that you've had people that have sent that home inspection report to their lender. Well, now your lender knows all the issues with this home, because that is the inspector's job, is to point out every flaw with the home, every crack and every crevice, everything that's a little bit off. They're taking pictures of all of this stuff too. That might not even be a big deal, but it sounds like a big deal when you read about it in an inspector's report. And so now your lender has this and you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I should be financing this home. There's a thing where the underwriter for the lender can actually request repairs to be made before they approve financing. And these could be things that an appraiser might not even require, but now the underwriter is going to require it because they saw the inspection report. This is something that can literally cost you more money. It could cost the seller money but if the seller's like, I'm not paying for any of that because the appraiser doesn't even require it, then it can end up costing you more money because now you're going to have to pay for those repairs to be made before you can close, or you're not going to close on the home. So as a mortgage lender, we try to avoid having the underwriters see any more than what they need to see, because underwriters are of the type that like to kill a deal with information if they can. But there's some information that they don't need to see. And in those instances, we try and just give the underwriter what they need, what they ask for, so that we can get the thing across the finish line. And providing a home inspection report is one of those things where it's not necessary. And providing all that extra information now just provides fuel for an underwriter to come back and say, oh, there's a water spot on the roof. Okay, I want you to have a roof inspection done to make sure that roof isn't leaking. Whereas it might be that the appraiser went through the attic and already saw that the roof wasn't leaking, but now there's a roof inspection that needs to be happening by a certified roofer.
At your expense as the buyer.
At your expense, or it might be something else.
No, I ain't got enough money for closing costs. What I'm supposed to do now?
So yeah, just don't show them the inspection report. Leave that. Keep that between you and your agent.
All right, I got one.
Mm-hmm.
The eviction or the landlord balance or judgment against you does not mean that you cannot qualify for a home. Oftentimes, your rental history and your credit history are completely separate. You cannot pull a credit report and see your rental history report. Now, if you have a landlord judgment, such as you vandalize the property or whatever, that's not gonna, that will probably show up on your credit report because it'll be like a public record, or a judgment against you. But if you simply had an eviction, let's say 2 years ago, but now your credit score is high enough to get a house, let's say 650, you can still go for the house. They do not consider your rental history when qualifying you for a mortgage loan. Am I correct, Frederick?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways. So we don't really look at your rental history. So like, yes, like you said, if you've had an eviction and that eviction doesn't show up on your credit report, then yeah, I'd never know about it. You know, that you had an eviction. It's not going to prevent you from being able to purchase a home. So yes, I mean, we'll want a verification of, you know, where you've lived for the past 2 years. But if you've had an eviction there,
ledger, yeah,
exactly. But
ledger.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but if you've had that eviction, then that eviction is not going to be anything that I would necessarily know about unless you owed money to your previous landlord and your landlord decided to report that as a collection on your credit report, in which case it's like, then I'm gonna know about it. But outside of that, yeah, that eviction doesn't have to stop you from being able to purchase a home or anything. So yeah. And I'll say, on another note, when it comes to the appraisal, there's so much stuff coming to mind right now. Don't share.
There'll just be a part 2. Let's just do a part 2.
Yeah. So when it comes to the appraisal, don't share the appraisal with the seller. There's a couple reasons for this. There are some instances in which the seller will request the appraisal. There are some instances in which buyers will, out of ignorance, share the appraisal. Don't be that buyer. If you are under contract and the appraisal comes back for the contract price or more, meaning that, let's say, for example, you're under contract to purchase a home for $300,000. The appraisal comes back for $300,000 or it comes back for more than $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no items listed on there as subject to, meaning that there's no repairs that need to be made or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Don't go send that appraisal to that seller. I have listing agents that'll call me and they'll say, hey, so they'll call me and they'll say, so what did the home appraise for? And I'll tell them it appraised for enough to justify the purchase price. And those will be the exact words that I use. And then some of them will come back, okay, but for how much? It appraised for enough to justify the purchase price. If you want further details, you'll have to talk with the buyer and the buyer will have to release that information to you because I'm not going to send you an appraisal that you didn't pay for. That's the buyer's appraisal. They paid the money for that appraisal. That's their appraisal. I see all the stuff in it because I'm the lender and I need that, but I'm not just going to be sharing that information, you know, willy-nilly with whoever. So that can hurt you because there have been situations where sellers get into a mindset of no longer wanting to negotiate if they notice that there's more equity in their home than what they're actually selling it for, particularly if there's a lot more equity in their home than what they're selling it for. You've had some homes, let's use the $300,000 example, appraisal comes back for $315,000 and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm leaving $15,000 on the table. Could have had more money in my pocket.
I could have, would have, should have.
Yeah.
That greed, man, is the American greed. As a seller, I wouldn't even want to know. Just all I want to know is, are y'all gonna be able to come to the closing table?
Yeah. But some people want to know.
Hurt my feelings. What if it was $50,000 over? You know what? Y'all gonna just have to sue me for specific performance. I'm not selling. You gonna have to make me sell.
And you've actually had that happen. You've had where sellers have done whatever they could to back out of the contract when they realize that there's so much money that they're leaving on the table because the appraised value came in for so much more than what the contract price was, that they were like, oh, there's no way I could close this thing now knowing what I know, that I could have an extra $15,000 in my pocket. And, you know, I need
Baby,
to go.
all that's going to be gone in court costs. You might as well just go on and sell.
So
that buyer will sue you for specific performance and make you sell.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I tell all my sellers, once you sign your name on the dotted line, there's very few reasons you can actually back out of the contract. The buyer is going to have to be the one to break this contract. So you better be for sure you're all right with this number.
Yes. Oh, and another one. Don't try and get crafty because I've seen some people do this out of ignorance, but it's a stupid move to do. Do not start moving money around from your accounts, and definitely don't start having money transferred to your account from other accounts as well, because that is going to raise a red flag like no other to a mortgage lender.
Right.
Mortgage lenders need to look at your last 2 months of bank statements. So I'm gonna give you a hint for this one. Any money moving you're gonna be doing, have it happen at least 3 months in advance of when you are going to be filling out an application, because a mortgage lender is going to want to look at those last 2 months of bank statements to see the money that's in your bank account. And so if within that last 2 months you've got $4,000, $5,000 transfer from so and so, and people padding money in your account, doing stuff to make it look like you've got money so you can close on this home or whatever it might be, all of that stuff's going to raise a red flag. You want the first statement that you have to give that mortgage lender, which is going to be 2 months before you filled out that application, to already have all the money in it that you're going to need. And if it doesn't, meaning that you're going to be getting a gift from someone that you have not received that money yet, talk to the lender first, because there are some ways to go about that without you having to have that money transferred to you. There are some ways that we actually can make that happen a lot more seamlessly and with a lot less headache and a lot less paperwork. But as an example, there have been individuals who have had money transferred to them, or they had mattress money, which, if you don't know what mattress money is, basically cash.
I don't trust banks.
People that don't trust the banks. And I actually know, I've actually had clients who did not trust the banks. I know I had one client, she had a sizable amount of money just in a safe at her house. And that's another stupid thing. Just keeping cash at your house. Understand that mortgage lenders cannot use cash in your home as assets for you to be able to purchase a home. And the reason is because of money laundering.
Accounting for it. Yes, you got to account for it.
Yeah, we have a responsibility as mortgage lenders to prevent money laundering and illicit movements of money for illegal activities and stuff like that, because you've had people that have money that was gained illicitly, selling drugs or doing crime or whatever, and then they take that money and they want to make it clean, so they go and do something like buy a home. And now, they tie that money up in the system. This money that was illegally gained, they tie it up in the system trying to make a legitimate purchase. Well, because of money laundering and everything like that, we have a responsibility as mortgage lenders to, help cut down on that. So if you've got, I've got $5,000 just sitting in my house. Well, if it ain't in a bank account, we can't use it. We can't just use your mattress money to qualify you to be able to purchase a home. So what you need to do, move all that money into an account 3, 4, 6 months before you even get ready to purchase, and just let it sit there, so that when you actually do go to purchase a home, now all that mattress money, because you don't trust the banks, can show up in that first bank statement that you're going to need to provide to your mortgage lender. But getting back to the gift funds, there is a way that we can, as mortgage lenders, make that transfer happen. If you are going to receive a gift from a friend or a family member that hasn't come in yet, talk to a mortgage lender. We can make that happen much more seamlessly and with much less headache and paperwork, because I've had situations where people have had funds transferred to them, didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden we see this transfer pop up in their bank statement. We're like, hey, where did this come from? Oh, it's coming from such and such. They're just giving me money to, be able to purchase this home. Okay, well, we're going to need a gift letter now, and then we need to see the bank account where they transferred it from. Oh, it was just cash. We can't accept it. If you had told me beforehand, there would have been some guidance that I could have given you into how we can make this happen so that we could accept it. But now that that money's in your bank account, you can't send it back and have it happen the right way now, because that's going to raise another red flag. Like you have 5,000 show up in your account, and now 5,000 leaves your account, and now someone else is giving you $5,000. it's not going to work that way. You have to let the mortgage lender know in advance, and then we can guide you on, okay, your friend is giving you cash. This is how this needs to happen so that it's legit. So that's another one that I have seen bite people and literally end the closing because now they don't have the money they needed to close that they were going to get from a friend who's going to give them cash. It just becomes messy. So,
yeah. You know, when it comes to mattress money, I know there was this one lady who had like $250,000 she had saved up and she just wanted to purchase a house outright. Personally, I would have still financed it and used that and invested it in something. And something hopefully that would have paid my mortgage for me. But, you know, people do what they want to do with their money. But I know that a lot of times if you have that balance and it's sitting in a bank for a specific period of time, a mortgage lender will go ahead and make a loan based on the fact that you've had that money in that account and not necessarily have to qualify you based on, you know, I guess it's called like an asset loan or something like that.
Asset depletion. Yep.
Okay. So, you know, something to think about. But okay, so one of my another one of my reasons that stupid things people do that prevent them from buying a home is filing bankruptcy. Because you've gotten in over your head. You thought more highly of your financial ability and income than you should have.
Yeah.
Do you not realize that filing bankruptcy essentially sets you back to about 2 years old? I mean, you are starting from scratch. You may as well crawl back in your mother's womb, suck your thumb,
not the womb,
and buy some Gerber, because I'm talking about a minimum of, I think, 3 years before you can even qualify for an FHA loan.
Yep, 2 years. Yeah.
2? Okay. And, you know, not to mention, you better hope that you already have a roof over your head, because these rentals aren't even wanting to rent to you. So where are you going to stay in between the time that you file bankruptcy and you can finally buy a house? 2 years of uncertainty that could be killer. So, yeah, don't do that. Don't file bankruptcy, and don't do the debt. What is it? Where they're like the debt. I don't think it's debt consolidation. I think I might be saying it wrong. But when you talk to those, like the national debt relief places, and they tell you to stop paying your bills so that they can then jump in and negotiate the fees and all of that, and get you either a monthly payment that's lower, or just make it to where you don't have to pay at all, which most of the time they may get the fees removed and the interest. But when you stop paying your bills, don't you know that your credit is going to drop lower, and it's going to be worse than before you started with these debt relief companies? So don't do that. Pay what you owe. The best thing that you can do if you have a lot of credit card debt is open up a new credit card that has 0% interest for 12 to 18 months. However, a low percentage on the balance transfers. Transfer it to that, and that will consolidate your payment. Your payments will only be 1% of the full balance. Pay on that and get you some breathing room. Because a lot of times if you have a whole bunch of different credit cards and none of them are in 0% financing or interest, you're going to have probably a 2% payment, and that kills you, and then you're not going to be able to pay it. So either that, or see if you can get a personal loan to consolidate everything into one payment, instead of making a whole bunch of payments all month long and they're too large for you to handle. Or, just don't get into debt.
Yeah, well, that's always an option, I mean, if you're
you look like you wanted to say something about the bankruptcy, brother. Go ahead.
If you're not an American, then maybe that's an option for you. Americans, we love debt.
Yes.
Live in debt. We swim in debt.
I think I might go get me some more tomorrow.
Yeah. We eat, sleep, and breathe. I eat debt for breakfast.
Debt, the breakfast of losers. I mean, champions. Yeah, man.
My debt is higher than your debt.
I didn't know it was a competition.
Yeah, we competing. How much debt you got on that new house? How much debt do you qualify for?
That's a mess, honey.
So before I get into my last one, yeah, about that debt relief, I got a personal story.
Oh, okay.
I have not personal. It was a story with a client that I was dealing with. So not my story. I haven't had any debt relief places that I've gone out to, but I was working with a client who was. And so the story is this client had great credit, but they had more debt than what was comfortable for them managing month to month. They were making all the payments on time, but it was stretching them really, really thin. And so they wanted to see if they could get their payments reduced to something that was more manageable and will allow them to save up money because they did want to purchase a home. What they did was that they sought the help of one of these debt relief companies. And what they were advised to do was to stop paying on their debt. Again, they had great credit, made all their payments on time. They were advised to stop paying on their debt because once they stopped paying on their debt, it would demonstrate that they don't have the means to continue to make the payments. And then the debt relief company could come in and negotiate lower payments on their behalf or try to negotiate some forgiveness of some of that debt on their behalf. What it did was destroy this guy's credit to where he had great credit. He was making all his payments on time, but he just had more debt that was stretching him really thin. To now he stopped making payments on the debt at the advice of this debt relief company. Now he destroyed his credit completely. And he was told by the debt relief company, yeah, you'll see your credit score take a dip. But then, after a couple months, it usually builds itself back up. It ain't build itself back up in a couple of months. This guy had charge-offs and collections that started showing up. Credit just completely destroyed. Comes to me, and this is where I catch him in the story now. And I get backfilled.
I want a house.
Wanting a house. And I get backfilled on everything that has transpired. And I'm like, so schedule an in-person meeting with this debt person. Bring your baby powder. Put it in your right hand. And then you gonna smack the taste out of his mouth. Like, oh my goodness. I was like, that is the worst advice I have ever heard anyone, like, out of all the things that you could have done, any one of those things that you named would have been much better than, hey, stop paying on all your bills so your credit goes to trash. Then we can have a reason to negotiate that you can't make your payments on time. It's like, or you could just get a loan and try to consolidate that debt under a lower interest rate, and that in large would lower your whole monthly payment. Or since you right now as it is have good credit, why don't you see what you can qualify for and then wrap all of that into a lower interest rate, I don't know, mortgage or refinance if you found a place that you can get some equity in. I mean, there's just so many different options that you have, but they advised, hey, let everything go to the trash can.
Hell. Go to hell.
Exactly. Like, and then you can go and try and, bring it back.
But listen, they approached me because at one point I was in about $40,000. No, it was like $65,000 worth of credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting calls from the national debt relief companies. And I've always been very credit savvy. Always had a credit score in the 700s or higher. Always, since I was 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And that's because I always understood how credit worked. My parents were fortunate enough to teach me at least pay the minimum, Mm-hmm. I had that fortunate upbringing to where I understood credit from a very young age. I started building credit as soon as I turned 18. And so when he told me, stop making your payments, that was the first red flag. And then when he said, be prepared because you're going to start getting a whole bunch of collection calls, but just ignore them. Baby, at the time, I probably had like a 780, 800 credit score. I've never had collection calls in my life. I said, hold on now. I'm not. And when my phone rings repeatedly to annoy or harass me, my attitude get real nasty with these spam risk calls. So I can just imagine with these collection calls. Look, I ain't got it. You know, I was like, I'm not going through that. That sounds awful.
Like, I'm not wired that way. I'm a big believer in paying what you owe. If you owe somebody money, you've gotten yourself, in over your head. It happens. It's life. You live, you learn. But then do your best to get back on track and pay what you owe. Just, don't try to take this route of, I'll just destroy my credit. And I see so many, and that brings me to another one I can think of, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stick with the one that I said I was going to do, the last one. I'm not going to go there, but there's another, like I said, I could be here literally all day with stories, because this comes from another story with a client I'm actually currently working with. But I'm going to leave that aside, and I'm going to just focus on the last one that I said I was going to do. And that one is, do not switch your job when you are getting within this 1 year, 2 years even of being ready to purchase a home. If it's within 1 year, fine. But I'm gonna tell you what really will kill you and has killed people, because I've seen it. I've seen the chalk outlines on the sidewalk of these people that just got killed with their home ownership dreams. Is that they switch jobs from a W-2 hourly or salary job, and they decide they want to become an entrepreneur. And so I'm like, so what do you do? Oh, I work for myself doing such and such. Well, how long have you been doing that? About 6 months. I can't help you. What were you doing before then? Oh, I was working at Wendy's. Okay, if you had stayed at Wendy's, we could be talking about you getting a home. But you decided 6 months ago to become an entrepreneur. Generally, a mortgage lender is going to want to see a 2-year history of self-employed income. So if you have not been doing your job for at least 2 years, it's going to be a lot tougher, if not impossible, for you to actually qualify. So don't go switching jobs. If you got a good salary job and you're like, man, I really want to switch my job, I don't like my job, but you also know you want to purchase a home, deal with your boss, deal with them coworkers, get that house, and then quit your job, making sure that you have something that you can transition to, so you can also make that first mortgage payment when it's due, the first of the month after the month you close. But yeah, don't go and switch your job. If you got a salary job, keep that salary job. That's the most stable form of income that mortgage lenders absolutely love. If it's an hourly job, cool. But understand, if you switch from a salary to an hourly job, you might have to be working that job for a few months before the mortgage lender is okay with approving you for that mortgage. And that can also jack up any overtime pay that you might want to include, because if you switch to a job that gets overtime pay, guess what? If you haven't been receiving overtime for at least a 2-year period, it's probably not going to be counted in your income, which is going to lower the amount you can actually qualify for. And of course, like we just said, if you go from a salary or hourly job to a independent contractor, meaning you're a 1099, or you go straight self-employed, you can just kiss those chances of purchasing a home goodbye, because again, you don't have enough work history if that stuff happens, just a couple months prior or 6 months prior or even a year prior, because in most situations, they're going to want to see a 2-year work history of you being self-employed before they can actually approve you for that mortgage. And that's what I have. I said I was going to stick to one. I had so many other ones pop up in my mind, but I did it. I stuck to the one.
Well, that's good. We're proud of you, Frederick.
Thank you.
I think my last one is going to be for this episode 2, 3, 4, 5 through 10 coming soon, y'all. But one thing is just, and I think this ties perfectly into the name of this podcast, but not people keep themselves from purchasing a home is something stupid something dumb that they do, or something dumb that they a mindset that they hold that's not helpful. Let's just say that, but not wanting to maintain a property.
Mm-hmm.
And so they allow that to keep them from pursuing home ownership because they don't want to pay taxes and insurance and maintenance and upkeep costs. They don't want that to have to come out of their pocket. They just want someone else to take care of it and someone else to do it.
Oh, you're paying for it anyways.
Exactly. But you'll never get a return on it should you decide to move on. Should you decide that I don't, want to be in this particular neighborhood or in this, big of a house or this small of a house anymore, you'll get absolutely nothing in return. Your house will be your greatest asset. And so don't let the fact that maintenance, repairs, and things like that will have to come out of your pocket keep you, a couple hundred, maybe even as up to a couple of $1,000s in maintenance repairs per year or every other year will pale in comparison to receiving tens of thousands in returns if you're able to hold on to that investment and either rent it out or sell it when the time is right. So just change your mindset and the way that you think about ownership. When people don't do that, it keeps them from purchasing a home. So.
No, I agree. And with that, hopefully you got something out of that, taking a few nuggets that can save you some headaches and some heartache and some pain.
Fun.
And some money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's what we have for you. And Tuesdays, Home Finance Hacks, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on YouTube. Fridays, make sure you tune in to catch the next episode whenever that drops on Friday. So that's what we have for you. Till next time, take care, be blessed, and we'll see you next week.